So, today I found myself in a room with a man who was unkind, to put it mildly. He was so mean to his wife that he yelled at her, "What are you, stupid?" He made things really challenging, and I explained things over and over, and he kept telling me I didn't know what I was talking about and that I wasn't actually doing my job and I wasn't helping him. And I kept trying to explain, which I don't think now looking back, I don't think he actually wanted the explanation. I think he just wanted to talk. And I eventually just let him talk. But he didn't talk. I felt small and insignificant, and it was a wash of disgusting energy, and I endured. I endured. And because I don't work for myself and I work for an organization that has like customer service on the very top of it, and I talked to the nurse later and she's like, "You don't have to be yelled at. Like, that is not part of what you have to do." But there's a part of me that takes the yelling, which is probably not okay, and but that I wanted to explain where this question for today comes from is, what do we do when someone is disrespectful, unkind, or even abusive? Because people are those things. Like, let's be real, right? And sometimes those people are like 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds who you're supposed to be teaching or raising or helping. And sometimes those people are 66-year-olds who think their jobs are super important and that they are more important than you are. And like, honestly, when he was yelling at his wife, I wanted to step in, but the nurse was like, "Stay in your lane." Like, later on we were talking about it, and I was like, my mama bear just like stepped up, and I actually had to like be like, "No, this is not your battle." Like, oh, it was bad. It was bad. And really, I was just trying to help, and he wanted nothing to do. Anyway, I need to, but I want to turn to them and ask them what to do about it, because my toes curled and I had this reaction, right? Like, and this reaction's not helpful when you're supposed to be doing a job. And somebody is like the epitome of terrible. And let me tell you, there's been some terrible in my life. There's been a lot of people who've been terrible in my life. And I have always been told by certain people to just swallow it and let them be human and be themselves, right? And so I felt myself in a triggering moment today where I was letting somebody be really cruel to me because I've been told over and over to let them be them. Maybe even to the detriment of me. And so, what do we do when someone is disrespectful, unkind, or even abusive? on 2 seconds. I'm going to pause here and go get a tissue. Just 1 second. Okay. Oops, I'm in the wrong space. And I just messed it up slightly. Okay, we're just going to go back here. Kim, acknowledge how you feel, how they make you feel. In reality, stuffing it, swallowing it, pretending it's fine or doesn't affect you won't make it go away. That's not how you move energy out. You move emotions. You move emotions and energy out by feeling them, allowing them to be present, accepting how you feel, and not feeling like you have to be brave, put on a stiff upper lip, enduring, accepting, tolerant. Others don't get to define what makes you comfortable or not. I have made the switch in the house for a lot of the paper products, paper towels and tissues, to be cloth ones. So, there you go. I have cute paper towels that have pigs on them with wings. Makes me so happy. Okay. I also want to point out there was a moment today when all this was happening that the nurse was standing next to me, and then I look over at one point and the nurse had left me, so it was just me and the guy. And before the nurse left, something pulled her attention to the door, and so I looked at the door and there was a nurse like cleaning up a mess on the floor. And then I looked out at the nurse's station, and the assistant manager was out there, and the manager was out there, and a whole bunch of other people, like a tex, and a whole bunch of people were out in the hallway, like, watching this interaction. And I knew I wasn't standing in there alone. I was so grateful. So grateful. What did you do today when he was watching you in his anger, frustration, and total unkindness? I curled my toes. I curled my toes and watched them curl. I watched how my feet were active beyond measure while the rest of me stood stock still and took it. What did you do today when he was washing you in his anger, frustration, and total unkindness? I curled my toes and watched them curl. I watched how my feet were active beyond measure while the rest of me stood stock still and took it. Right. And your breath? My breath? I watched it. I forced it deep and in my belly. I tried to slow my breath down and didn't actually hear most of what he yelled. I was 100% in survival mode. I zoned out, watching my toes curl and my breath in my nose, mouth, and belly. Right. You used all of your techniques to get through. Not everyone has those techniques. Just like you didn't 10 years ago. You've used the last, 14 years to learn them, right? So it was probably more like 14 years ago. This is true. Sorry. What do you do when someone treats you less than you deserve, Kim? This is something we are teaching you now, something that wasn't taught to you when you were little. Your parents didn't know how to address this issue, how to address this in their own lives, and so you never saw this modeled. In fact, your father modeled the exact opposite. Oh God, did he? Whew. I'm just gonna hop in here for 2 seconds, and I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. Kim, and the rest of you watching, what do you do when someone treats you less than you deserve? You leave. You find people to treat you better. You stand up for yourself and hold your ground if this is a relationship you want to hold on to and work through. One of the things souls are here on earth in meat suits to learn, their own value and worth. Sometimes it's through the abuse, the yelling, the devaluing of others that you learn how to stand up and protect yourself. You learn how to bravely acknowledge your own worth when someone else negates, attempts to negate your self-worth. But most of all, you get yourself safe. See the person with your eyes wide open. See their cruelty, their lack of compassion, their selfishness, their myopathy to themselves. Realize you are just a pawn in their lives, a pawn to make themselves feel better, get what they want, or manipulate a situation. Realize you don't have to stay. Even when you are representing an organization bigger than yourself, you don't have to stay. When you are representing an know your value and worth. Create a new story. Walk out. Come back when they are done being selfish asses. Create a new story. Know how you deserve to be treated and accept only the appropriate behavior from those around you. Yeah. This feels easier said than done. Kim, all of our words are easier said than done. We are really good at feel-good words. It's feel-good actions that are harder. If if the right thing is to walk away and be yourself, it might not be the easy thing. You could be leaving friends behind. You could be leaving comfort and what you know behind. You could be leaving your own heart behind. What awaits on the other side of choosing yourself and learning through pain? A greater sense of your own beauty and self-worth, a greater sense of who you are and knowing your own value, a greater sense of self-love and self-compassion. Thanks for letting me process that with you guys tonight. I really appreciate it, and I hope this helps somebody at some point in some way when you find yourself in a situation where you know the person or people you're with are just not treating you as you deserve and need to be treated. For February 16th, 2024.